Good morning, everybody. I'm Dana Markson from Mind Soother Therapy Center, which is a group practice in New Jersey, and Rockstar Practice, our Facebook group for private practice building. If you want to energize, optimize, and idealize your private practice, you can join us. I put the link to the Facebook group in the chat. Today, you're in for a real treat. We're going to be learning about Rubenfeld synergy, and Theresa will share all about that with you in a moment. For now, I want to tell you some exciting news. So 2 things. One is I've created a DBT inspired skills for online and in-person therapy 20 CEU course, which will be dropping soon. I'm super excited. I've been working really hard on it. We're about halfway done with it. It'll be ready for sale very, very shortly, i.e. this weekend. And I am going to be offering it to all of you at a very deep discount as a thank you, as a way to give back. And it is approved by NASW New Jersey for 20 continuing education credits. So good news on that one. There's very few online courses that have been approved. And as it is a renewal year for us, I hope you take part in that. If you're interested in more information, please email me, dana@rockstarpractice.com. I will put that in the chat as well. Also, one more thing, we've had one of our guest experts for May 29th shared with me last night that she has a conflict. So if anybody has any kind of information that they're expert in, that you are willing and available to share in this community, please email me again to that email address, and I would love to chat with you about coming on here as a guest expert. So one more thing is you are all having your sound and your video off. I will be monitoring the chat, as will Theresa. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in there. I will be taking them as we go along and answering as Theresa's speaking. And then at the end, we will take your questions and comments and processing through the chat at the end. So that takes care of our business. I want to introduce to you Theresa Petterson-Chu, who is a certified Rubenfeld synergist and also a certified Rubenfeld synergy mentor. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm super excited to share in this process with you. Welcome, Theresa.
Thank you, Dana, for having me here, and I appreciate the opportunity to be of service to you all. So let me switch over to, I'm going to switch over to my PowerPoint, and here we go. And so today we're going to be talking about how to use the Rubenfeld synergy method to soothe your body, mind, and soul. And to start with, I want to give you a brief definition of the Rubenfeld synergy method. The Rubenfeld synergy method is an integrative somatic therapy that accesses the wisdom of the body to heal trauma, promote wholeness, and create inner harmony. And the defining features of the Rubenfeld synergy method is its unique combination of touch and talk, with a focus on listening to the body and using the body as an entrance into the self. So in a minute, I'm going to get more into sort of the history of Rubenfeld synergy, how it came into being, some of the components, the main components of it. And then I'm going to guide you through a process where you will listen to your body and access the wisdom of your own body. And then we'll have time for questions or sharing anything that came up for you in the process. Before I do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I have a practice in Maplewood, and I've had a practice as a synergist for the past 20 years. And the name of my practice is Coming Home to Yourself. And I think about life as a journey, right? Each of us is coming home to ourselves, to our true selves, if we really want to embark on that journey. And initially, I started out my career as an interior designer. And what I did is I listened to my clients and I created homes that were beautiful and comfortable for them, something that suited them. And then when I switched to becoming a Rubenfeld synergist, I felt like I was doing interior design in a different and new way. And what I was doing was listening to my clients' bodies, teaching them to listen to their bodies, and helping them to experience the beauty of their beings and to feel comfortable in their own skin. And the way I made that transition was I was having a hard time after my second child was born. I have 2 children. And after she was born, I was struggling to juggle with being a mom and being a wife and running a business with my husband, who still is an interior designer. And I'm sure many of you can identify with that. And I was trying to do all those things under this belief that I had to be perfect. And that was creating a lot of internal pressure on me. And I felt like this polished shell that I had tried to construct was starting to crack. And so I started seeing a therapist. And during my time that I was seeing him, he would at times ask me to notice my breath, notice what was happening in my body when I was breathing. And that was a whole new area for me. I was really sort of taken by surprise. Nobody had ever asked me what was going on in my body unless I was sick. Nobody had asked me to listen to my body. And he then suggested I do some Rubenfeld synergy sessions, which I had no idea what that was. It felt like another thing to do, and I just dropped it. And subsequently, I started a support group with a couple of friends, and we met every week to talk about what was going on in our lives. And after doing that for several months, we decided we wanted to get a facilitator, somebody who could take us deeper. And my friend knew this man through his job, and this man just happened to be a Rubenfeld synergist. And I'm telling you, the chances of that happening are probably 1 in a million. So here it was again, showing up in my life. And we started to have some synergy sessions, which was kind of unusual. Usually a synergy session is done one-on-one. But somebody would have a session while the others watched or were engaged in some way. And I was really surprised by what my body knew. And the sessions were very cathartic. So they were powerful, and yet they were gentle. And I was tapping into this new dimension of wisdom and information that I could feel within me and access through the help of my synergist. And then I was really interested in anything to do with spirituality, health, and psychology. And one day I literally heard a voice that said, "You could do something like this." And so I did some exploration, and then I landed on Rubenfeld synergy. And what really sold me was Rubenfeld synergy's ability to help me, and I knew to help others embody themselves. So that's my story. And now we're going to move into Ilana Rubenfeld. She was the creator of the method. She's often called the grandmother of body-mind therapies. She's in her, I think she's in her early 90s right now. And back in the late 50s and 60s, early 60s, she was a musical conductor. She was one of the first women conductors studying at Juilliard under Pablo Casals. And she was doing this for hours. She was doing the motion of a conductor for hours with her hands and her arms up. And from doing that, she started to have a lot of back pain. And she went to a doctor and got some pills, but it really didn't do the job. And then a friend of hers suggested that she go see an Alexander teacher. And Alexander teachers, what they do is they help you to become aware of how you're holding your body. And they help you to use your body in a way that's more supportive and efficient. So she said to Alana, show me what you do. So Alana showed her what she does when she's conducting. And then the Alexander teacher made some gentle adjustment and touched Alana. And when she touched Alana, Alana had this welling of emotion that came up. And she wanted to talk about what was happening for her. But her Alexander teacher said, hey, this isn't my area of expertise. Go see a psychotherapist. So Alana did that. She went and sat on the couch and she talked about what she was feeling. But it didn't feel, it felt a little bit distant to her. And she said, I had one person that would touch me and wouldn't talk to me, and one person that would talk to me and wouldn't touch me. And this was like a spark for Alana. She sensed the connection between the body and the emotions. And so she herself became an Alexander teacher. That was the first thing that she studied. These are all the elements of the Rubenfeld synergy method. So after studying the Alexander technique, she studied the Feldenkrais method, which is a system of movements to heighten your awareness of your body. Now, Alexander and Feldenkrais didn't address emotions. It was all body focused. And so Alana went and studied Gestalt therapy with Fritz and Laura Perls. And while Fritz or Laura were working with a client in what they call the hot seat, Alana would touch the person, and she could feel like if a person was holding or constricting, or when emotion was arising, or when they were releasing. She could sense that through her hands. And then she realized that one person could do both. And later on, she presented to a group of Ericksonian hypnotherapists, and while doing a demonstration of the work, one of the faculty members commented on how Alana was doing very similar things to what they were doing. Because in a synergy session, you're typically laying down on a table, you're closing your eyes, and so you enter into a trance state. So Alana took all those methods and she synergized them. The word synergy was suggested by Buckminster Fuller. He saw what she was doing. And the definition of synergy is the interaction of elements that, when combined, produce a total effect that is greater than the sum of the individual elements. And that's what Alana was doing. Now she was addressing and integrating the body, the mind, the emotions, and spirit. And so this here is an image of what a synergy session looks like. You can see the client is lying on a massage table. They're fully clothed, and that's me. I'm making contact with my client, and the contact is not, it's not massage. I'm not like rubbing or doing any kind of those massage-like movements. My touch is present and supportive. And Alana called our touch listening touch. Remember, she was a musician and a conductor. And so she had a very refined ear. And what she said she was doing was like what she did when she was conducting, right? As a conductor, you have to track all different instruments to create a harmony. And when she was listening to the body, right, she was listening to the body, she was listening to a client's words, she was sensing what they were feeling and bringing that all together. And so she called the touch listening touch. Here are the foundations of what we also call RSM, a shortened version because it's a lot to say, the Rubenfeld Synergy Method. And as I talked about, listening is the ground of our work. I'm listening to my client's body and I'm helping them to listen to their bodies. And then touch, we use touch. And why do we use touch? So touch helps to ground us in our bodies. Often when I start a session, I'm making contact with my client's feet. And I'm very grounded. So as I'm grounded, that supports them to feel that also. Touch heightens your awareness. So I'm placing my hands on a specific area on the body, and then I'm asking what my client is noticing. And you're going to get to do this in the exercise that we're going to do in a little bit. Touch soothes the nervous system. Think about a distressed child and you know, picking them up and comforting them. Or even if you've been upset and a friend puts a comforting hand on your shoulder, how that is so soothing. And then we use touch for communication, communicating presence and support and compassion. And then using touch to foster connection. So connection between myself and my client, and most importantly, to have fostering connection between my client and themselves. So I'm going to go back one more. Let me go back. I'm going to go back to the foundations of Rubenfeld synergy. So the other thing that we use is movement. Movement, like touch, also heightens awareness. It helps you to notice where you're holding in your body. And then when releasing, it sort of enhances that. Verbal dialogue. So I'm asking my client what they're noticing in their body, and they are sharing with me what their experience is. And then I'm also having them enter into a dialogue with their bodies. And that's something else you're going to get to do in the exercise. And then imagery, using imagery, right? So imagery helps to expand upon an experience. So for example, if I make contact with my client's hip and they say that feels like warmth, that feels warm, I'll say, if that place had an image, what would that look like? And maybe they say it's like the sun radiating warmth. And so I'll say, okay, so visualize that sun in your hip and let that warmth radiate throughout your body. Or I'm thinking of a client where she told me she felt stuck and on the soles of her feet, and I asked her, like, what did that look like? What was she stuck in or stuck on? And she had the image of a glue trap, and that informed me of, wow, I really need to help free my client from that glue trap. So move forward. So that is sort of the basics of the Rubenfeld synergy method. Alana Rubenfeld wrote a book called The Listening Hand. And if you want to find out more about the work, you can check out her book. It talks more about sort of the principles and the tenets that underlie the work. And there's lots of exercises in the book. So things you can do on your own, and also things you can do with a partner. So here we are, right? We've been navigating an emotional storm, And, you know, I remember when all of this started and we were sheltering at home, I was feeling a bit disorganized by what was going on, and I could feel my own fear coming and going. And I realized that I really needed to get grounded, right? Not only was I dealing with my own fears, I was listening to my clients, just like all of you are, listening to their fears, their anger, their grief. And that's a lot. It's a lot to kind of hold all that and process all that. And so I realized I needed to get grounded. And we're going to focus on grounding today and some of the other skills that I think are important when navigating through emotional storms and unpredictable times like these. And, you know, it is my hope that you can use these at home and to help you when feeling ungrounded or when you get overwhelmed. You can come back to these practices that we're going to do today. And actually, Dana will send you out a handout of the things that we do today so that you can use them at home. So I already talked about the ability to ground, right? We all get thrown in life, and the task is to get ourselves grounded and recentered again. And then by doing that, that helps to regulate the nervous system. These are things I'm sure many of you all know. And using the breath, right? We use the breath to help regulate the nervous system. And then we want to identify internal resources. It's a question I've had during this whole time is, what can I really rely on? And I want to help you to identify what you can rely on within yourself. And then we're going to look at how to clear energetic blocks, right? So, and the way that we'll do that is we're going to focus on the place in your body where you tend to hold stress, right? All of us have sort of our favorite places for that. It might be your neck or your back or your knees or your shoulders, right? We all have our sort of favorite spots where stress seems to land. And often with that stress is there's energy that's held in there, right? When we're stressed, we're more constricted. And there can be emotion that's held in there. Like if we're afraid, we clench, right? If we're angry, we might like tighten our jaw. Also, when dealing with certain emotions, we're also dealing with messages that we've gotten about those emotions. So if you've been given a message that it's not okay to cry, what could happen is the energy of your tears can get stuck in your throat. And that's like when we say we feel like we got a lump or a frog in our throat. That's the block, right? And the messages that we've gotten can block that energy. So we're going to look at that today also, and we're going to identify what's needed to kind of free that up. So before we start the exercise, I'm just going to leave you with this quote, a lovely quote, which says, "There is a deep wisdom within our flesh if we can only come to our senses and feel it." And so that's what I'm going to guide you to do. I'm going to guide you to come to your senses and feel the wisdom and access the wisdom that's within your body. So, why don't you get yourself comfortable in your chair? And if it feels okay, take off your shoes It's much better to get a sense of grounding without your shoes on. So take your shoes off. And then close your eyes. And just sense your body making contact with your chair. Just feel the support that is available to you. And just allow your body to receive that support. And then take a nice breath. Your breath is one of the easiest ways to connect with your body because we can feel it. We can feel it as it moves in and out of the body. So just notice your chest and your belly rising as your breath comes in. And then just notice how they fall as you exhale. And just take a few more breaths. Just to foster that connection and just start feeling your body. And then as you're breathing in, think about breathing in calm. You can say, I breathe in calm. And release anything that needs to go as you exhale. And you don't even have to think a lot about it. Just trust whatever needs to be released will be released. And then bring your awareness to your feet. And sense what your connection is right now with the ground. We always want to start with where we are, right? Where are we in the present moment? What does this connection feel like? Do you feel connected? Do you feel like you're on solid ground? Does it feel shaky or uneven? So I'm just going to give you a moment to really sense that. And you can find your own words internally to describe what you're sensing. And then imagine what might strengthen your connection with the ground. What would you need to feel really grounded and connected to the earth? And then I'm going to help you out in that way by having you imagine, right? Imagine roots growing out of the soles of your feet. And see those roots growing down deep into the core of the earth. And in that core, imagine that core is is like a red glowing ball pulsing with life energy. And then draw that energy, that red glowing energy, up into your feet, up into the soles of your feet, through the roots. And let that energy come up in through your legs and into your pelvis. Up through your spine, into your neck, throughout your head, and back down into your heart. Feel that energy pumping out your heart and through your arms and your hands and down through your belly. And back down your legs and back into the earth, making this circuit, right? This circuit. And just feel what your connection is like now. Notice what that connection is like when we first started, right? I asked you that question. Notice if anything has shifted now. And then just breathe. Breathe and feel what you feel. Give yourself some space to feel what you're experiencing. And now that you're grounded, right, or more grounded, I'm going to guide you to another place in your body. So I want you to sense and identify the place in your body that you really rely on. Maybe it's your gut, or your heart, or your feet, your hips. Notice where you're drawn to. Don't overthink it. Just sense where you're drawn when I ask, what place in you do you rely on the most? And if it's comfortable, place your hand there. Gently place your hand there. Because remember what I had said before, right? Touch helps to heighten our awareness, right? And it fosters a connection. And it grounds you in this place. So with your hand there, sense what you're feeling here physically. See if you can describe, right? What does it feel like here? Does it feel solid? Does it feel strong? Does it feel soft or open? You find your words. I'm just giving you some examples. And now that you have a sense of what it feels like physically, what if you were to draw this place or give it an image, what would it look like? And now imagine that this place could speak to you, right? I don't know if anybody's ever asked that of you, right? But just imagine that this place could speak to you. What message does it have for you? What does it want you to know? And then receive that message. Really take it in. Again, breathe with it. Breathe and receive the message. And notice how it lands in you, how it lands in your body. What happens in your body as you receive this message? And what would you want to say back to this place? Right? Think about being in a conversation. This place just shared something with you, and now you're going to respond back. What would you say back to this place? And then just notice how that lands in this place in your body. Notice if anything shifts as it hears those words from you. And then just appreciate this place for what it has shared with you. Appreciate the time that you've spent here with this place in your body, giving it your attention and listening to it and responding to it, right? This place is you, right? It's not separate from you. It is you. And as you enter into this kind of conversation with your body, right, you're creating a relationship with yourself, right? By befriending your body, you deepen your relationship with yourself. So we're going to shift again to another place in your body, right? Because we're on a journey here, right? It's like a little mini synergy session. What's different here is that I'm not getting your feedback right now, right? But you are having this question, you're in this conversation with yourself. So, right? I talked about this a little bit before. We all have places in our body where we hold stress. And probably when I say that, you probably go very quickly to where that place is. I'm sure you're very familiar with it, right? So bring your attention to that place. We're going to sort of go through a similar process that we did with the other place, right? And just bring your awareness there. And if you can, if it's comfortable, place your hand there. Just gently. So if it's your shoulder, just gently place your hand on your shoulder. If it's your jaw, you can put one hand or even two hands on your jaw. If it's your belly, you can put your hand there. Wherever that place is, right? And for each of us, it's different. And then just begin to notice what this place feels like, right? How would you describe this place? Does it feel tight, constricted? Does it feel dense or blocked or under pressure? Again, I'm giving you some examples, but I want you to find your words. You're the only one that knows you, right? You know you, and your body knows you. And then after you've described it in some way, right, you've given some words to describe its quality. What would this place look like if you gave it an image, right? I don't know, would it be like a plate of steel, or like a rubber band being pulled from both ends, or a solid block? What would it look like? Now, often where there is constriction in our bodies, right, there is always energy held there, right, when we're constricted, because we're not allowing the flow of it. And usually there's emotion there. There's some emotion. So it could be fear, right? We tend to constrict in fear, but it can be other things, right? It can be anger, it can be grief. Sometimes people constrict when there's joy. So I want you to notice what emotion lives here. What do you think? What do you sense the emotion is that resides here? Right? And what does that look like? What does that energy, that sensation look like? Like, what color is it? What texture is it? And then ask this place what it needs to feel more at ease. What would create more ease for this place in your body? And then notice, and then imagine giving this place what it needs, right? Our imaginations are very powerful, and our bodies believe whatever we imagine to be true. So just imagine giving this place what it needs. And then notice any shifts in that place. Does anything change? Anything else you change in your body? Maybe something you notice in your breath. or your posture. And then send some appreciation to this place, right? For all it has been through and all it does for you. Appreciate yourself for spending this time with this place and having this conversation. And then gently start to bring your awareness back, right? Back to the group, right? Back to the room you're in. You can open your eyes. I'm just going to give you a moment to come on back. Move your body in any way you need to move. And then I'd like to open it up for questions. If you want to share, why don't it would be good to hear about what you discovered in this process. What you learned about yourself. I hear this was amazing. Thank you. Can you be more specific? I hear that from Shayna. My body's okay. Here's Rachel. My body said it's okay to feel, and my mind immediately said it's not safe. Okay, yeah. So we just want to see that. That's information, right? So there's some messages, Rachel, right, that you've gotten that it's not okay to feel. And so you want to honor that also. You want to honor that and not sort of push yourself into feeling anything. To just notice what is, and just really honor that you don't feel safe enough yet. Here's somebody else. That's Dana. My body said thank you for paying attention to me. Yeah, right. How often do you do something like this, right? Where you really pay attention to yourself. Cheryl, I discovered that my breathing relaxed when I lost that one. They're coming in quickly now. They're coming in. Cheryl said, I discovered that my breathing relaxed when I focused on other parts of my body you were teaching us to focus on. Great, great. And Nicole, my heart, solar plexus, and jaw usually holds emotional blockages. I imagined a jail cell and a messy, clumped up ball. Repeated positive affirmations and practice gratitude. Great. And I'm wondering what shifted when you did that. Did anything shift, Nicole? Amy, it was easy to imagine my blocked place. My neck actually looked like a yoga block. I felt the neck become less dense. Great, right? This is what happens when we listen, when we attend, things begin to just naturally let go. We don't have to sort of break through our armor. We can melt the armor. And Barbara, when it is bilateral places, shoulders, knees, do you focus on them together or separately? Not necessarily, no, because your shoulders can feel different, right? So one shoulder may carry more stress than another. Same with your knees. It's not always equally balanced. So I would focus on the place. If we're talking about, I'm imagining when you're talking about shouldering, that you're talking about stress. So I'd focus on that particular shoulder. Nicole, yes, I felt my stomach release and heart stop racing. I heard it is okay to release and be free. Wonderful, wonderful. Janet, the places I trust are my heart and my gut. I hold tension above my heart, between my shoulder and collarbone. I don't know about anyone else, but I had tears running down my face most of the time. I learned I hold fear in that spot where I hold the tension. I feel calmer and grounded again. Yes, absolutely. So our emotions are held in the body. And when we start listening to our bodies, those emotions will start to surface. Things that we've held in the body will come up. And as you give space for them, right, and allow them to be, what happened, Janet, was you felt calmer and grounded again. So beautiful. All of this is really beautiful. Oh, that's what Dana just said. Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Diana Lapp. I was very relaxed and slowly was drifting into a sleep, but I awoke by sharp pains in my body. I deal with chronic pain, so the pain at times distracts me. It took me a long time to refocus, and the pain blocked me from noticing other parts. Once the pain stopped, I was able to use the breath to feel at peace and calm. Then I was able to not judge the pain. Thank you so much. I have to jump over. Oh, okay. Well, I just want to address that, right? So when pain shows up, pain is one of the ways our body communicates to us, right? Our body is always communicating. So tension, aches, and pains. And if I was actually working with Diana, I would then go to the pain, and we would listen to the pain to see what the pain was trying to express. Carol, I could feel and see a rock in my shoulder and felt the fear I carry but usually deny. The rock is gone now. Wow.
Wow.
I hear Dana.
Thank you for sharing that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, these are amazing sharings, really beautiful, and just love the shifts, hearing the shifts that occur when we listen.
I have a question, Theresa. How would you
Yes.
suggest we use this? So as mental health practitioners, we are the holding environment for our clients, right? So what would be a way to practice this? Would it be sit down with intention for 10 minutes once a day, or whenever we're feeling a certain thing, then sit down and, listen to our bodies using this method? How would you recommend that we use it?
I mean, I think both are great. I mean, I think, most of us are not taught to listen to our bodies. So just developing a practice every day where you tune into your body would be amazing, right? Just doing that on a regular basis to check in and to see where you're at and what you're feeling and where that's lodged in your body. And then also, if something specific is coming up, if you're having a certain pain, if you're feeling tension or uneasiness in some way, or even if you're feeling great, right? If you're feeling really good, because we want to balance pain and pleasure.
Yes.
We want to get to know what both feel like in our bodies, right? So, so both of these.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've heard this before, but you have a beautiful, calm way about you. So even just in your delivery, I'm sure other people felt this way as well. I just felt my body relaxing listening to you. And I really appreciated that, and I'm sure that lying on the table and having your hands on a client feels even, more particularly grounding and connected. I love the process of listening to my body. If my body could talk to me, what would it say?
Uh-huh.
I think that's such a cool process that we often, as therapists, we're very much in the mind-body connection, but we're usually saying, what is our mind telling us, not what is our body telling us? And I think
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I hope all of you take some little nugget around that into your practice for yourself to create some more grounding for you. We're doing a lot of really hard work right now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
beautiful. I want to say thank you to you, Theresa. I honor
Thank you.
it's been
Thank
such
you.
a pleasure, extremely helpful. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And to all of you that keep showing up to these exercises and a chance to really ground yourself. And this time is for you. So I love that as well. Stay well, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.